Today on SCC, the crew reveals some of their non-hobby Mount Rushmore PC and discuss the challenges of collecting these players. Coming up now on SCC.
Welcome to episode 35 of Sports Cards Culture. I'm here with Nick, Stefan Wax on Instagram, Kristina at Kristina's PC, Josh at Cardboard_Chronicles, and I'm Chris at Chris_HOJ. Today, collecting beyond the hobby's Mount Rushmore is our topic. When we appeared on stage at the National last summer with Alan Goldshire of
Collectible,
he posed the question to all the panelists, what is the hobby's Mount Rushmore? Josh, what would you say is more or less the consensus of the hobby's Mount Rushmore? What four players are on that Mount Rushmore?
I think you and I were the only ones with the same answer. And I think it was Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Mickey Mantle, and Tom Brady.
That's right. Now, some people had slightly different answers. Do you remember any of the other different ones?
Some people pick their favorite players. I remember hearing Carmelo. Some of the other ones, maybe Luka and Mahomes, some of the younger guys, since the hobby has blown up so much, on the backs of some of the younger players in their rookie classes. So we probably heard some of that as well. I'm trying to think of others, maybe more baseball players. I think you could probably argue maybe Jackie Robinson. I think I heard Jackie Robinson. That's a pretty good answer as well.
I think I heard Babe Ruth as well.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth, yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely more than four who would fit on the hobby's Mount Rushmore, but Mantle, Brady, LeBron, and MJ, that's pretty good. Maybe you switch one of them out for Babe Ruth or for Jackie Robinson, and then you got Kobe as well. But
Kobe, yeah.
Kristina, of those names that are on that hobby Mount Rushmore, do any of us here collect any of them?
We all collect 75% of those four names.
And what are they?
Josh collects LeBron James, Nick collects Thomas Brady, and you and I collect Mike Jordan.
Yes, we do.
I like that.
Okay. The problem with collecting these players is that over the last few years, prices for their best cards have become prohibitively high. So if you snagged grails of these players 2, 3, or 4 years ago, or even further back, you've done very well. But nowadays, you basically need to be a tycoon to be able to afford them. For example, Card Ladder's proprietary valuation methodology puts the current value of the exquisite gold parallel rookie patch autograph BGS 9.5 of LeBron. What do you think it puts it at?
I read the script.
Okay. It puts it at nearly $7.5 million. Card Ladder puts the value of the PMG Green, Michael Jordan, a PSA Authentic at how much? Oh, maybe she didn't read it.
Oh, she looked.
I don't know.
$2.1 million. And Card Ladder estimates the value of a BGS 9 championship ticket contenders Tom Brady rookie, which is the highest graded, to be $4.9 million. So using Card Ladder's all-time sales history, we can see that at least two of these cards used to sell for less than 0.5% of the current value. The MJ PMG Green, which is now a $2 million card, once sold for $5,300 in 2007. And the Brady, and wait till you hear this one, the Brady Championship ticket, which is now nearly a $5 million card, once sold for less than $5,000. It once sold for $4,450 in 2008. So what story is this data telling?
It's telling us that you need to build a time machine, go back, win those auctions, and put them in a safe deposit box for our future selves.
Yes.
Tell your future self via letter from a reputable lawyer and law firm to go to this safe deposit box on this day and then sell these cards.
It's also telling us that certain high-end cards have grown by factors of hundreds, or in the case of the Brady Championship ticket, by a factor of 1,100 over the last 15 to 20 years. The best cards of the players we love to collect, like LeBron and Brady and Jordan, have reached prices that only the wealthiest collectors can afford, or these cards are being fractionalized and can only be owned in the form of shares. So there are plenty of reasons to continue to collect the affordable cards of hobby Mount Rushmore players, but that is not what this episode is about. This episode is about finding ways to collect the best cards of other great athletes, non-Mount Rushmore, but still great athletes, which can be had at mere pennies on the dollar by comparison. So each of us have found a different way to keep the exciting mail days coming in each week, even in this era of 7-figure sports card sales happening on a regular basis. Josh, I'd like to start with you. We're going to do something a little different on this episode. We're going to talk about cards in our collections. But before we do that, Josh, can you talk about the frustration created by these extreme price points on cards of a player that you like to collect, such as a LeBron?
Well, I've been collecting LeBron for over 5 years, and over that time, I've sort of worked my way up towards some of his best cards. And so now, as a collector, that's kind of my new floor, is like, these are the cards I'm after now. Like, I'm no longer excited by some of these, the ones that I saw when I first started. And so now it's like, I have this chase to get to these top end LeBron cards, and it's literally impossible to get them financially. It would take me like years to get a lot of these. And some of them, I could never get them. Like that 7.5, I'll never be able to afford that card. That's okay, unless I win the lottery or something. But the frustration is like, you just can't get them. They're out of your reach, and you're sort of forced to collect, a lower tier of cards, which is okay for a lot of people. But if you're in the game and you want to collect a certain set or a certain parallel, or there's some card of your favorite player that you've always wanted, and it's impossible to get it, that's the frustrating part right now.
It's kind of like Candy Crush. Like when you get to level 495, you don't want to go back to play level 2 again. Like you're just like, I'm over it. Like I just want to keep climbing the
bet
ladder.
That's the first time Candy Crush has ever been analogized to the hierarchy of sports cards.
You're welcome.
So this is a historic moment here.
You're welcome.
Josh, all right, with that said, what have you pivoted to collecting, and like what player, what cards? Actually, don't say the cards yet. Just say the player. We'll get to the cards in a second. And why? Why have you chosen this player?
So the player I've pivoted to pretty recently is Chris Paul. And the reason I've pivoted to Chris Paul is he still checks all the boxes that I look for in a player to collect. And that's, someone that's more established, someone that's been in the league for a good amount of time. They're already proven to be an all-NBA player, or, whatever league it is, all-NFL, whichever. They're on my favorite team. They are he's an extremely efficient player. I really like watching guys who play the game the right way. I believe he's number 9 all-time in PER right now, which is a stat that I really like to look at. And he's a winner. Like all the teams that he goes to get immediately better. The Suns didn't make the playoffs 2 years ago. They don't make any other minor roster changes. The only real addition they made was Paul, and they made the finals. Granted, there were some injuries that, they had some luck on their side to get to the finals, but it's pretty clear that he's a winner. He's a great player. He hasn't won a championship, which is why his prices are so cheap, and that's the last reason. His prices are very, very cheap.
Pretty good reasons, wouldn't you say? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about 3 cards. We're all going to show 3 cards on this episode. Josh, tell us about 3 cards you've recently picked up of CP3 and a little bit about why you picked up that particular card.
The first one is the most obvious one, the 2005 Upper Deck Exquisite RPA out of 99. This is often seen as, the best card of a given player. So be able to check that one off the list right away is great. I own the LeBron as well, and so that one was not quite as easy to obtain. This one was quite a bit easier. And if you're looking at like a Luka or a Tom Brady doesn't have this specific card, but if you're a Mahomes, you're thinking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Chris Paul, much cheaper than that, was able to pick that one up. Very excited about that. Next, 2008, 2009, Exquisite again, Emblems of Endorsement. These are numbered to 10, so not exactly a card that many people can acquire no matter what the player. So the reason I picked this one up and the reason I like it is because it's an extremely rare card. It's you could still have these really rare high-end chase cards of any of these players, and they're very hard to acquire, just as difficult to find, even a lot of times more difficult to find than the GOATs, because they're stashed away and people may not feel it's worth it to sell it, so they're actually pretty hard to find. And again, the price was much cheaper on that than a LeBron version. I've actually seen the LeBron and Michael Jordan of those in hand, and those cards are extremely expensive, and the patch on the one that I got is quite a bit nicer. So that's the other thing. You can kind of be picky on like minor details of these cards, like the patches and the autographs and such. The last is my favorite year of Topps Chrome, 2008. The gold refractor out of 50 and a PSA 9. I have the LeBron of this one as well and a PSA 10. It's my favorite gold LeBron. He's got the iconic chalk toss picture. So the Chris Paul doesn't quite live up to that, but still an iconic, overhead cam photo, which is really cool to see. So those are my 3 right now. Hoping in a couple months, I'll have better things to show, but those are as of now the best 3.
And speaking on that last note there, so what comes next in the CP3 collecting journey, and how do you know, how do you know when it's time to make a new milestone?
Well, this is the first time I've ever been able to actually put forth like a goal or some sort of checklist of a basketball player. Because for LeBron, it's like, I can't like conceivably get every card, so I kind of have to pick and choose, and whatever comes up is like a good deal for the year or for the decade now, I'll buy it. But with Chris Paul now, I can. My goal is to actually get every major release exquisite card that he has. I've checked off quite a few of them already, thanks to another great collector. And so, I'm close, so might as well go for it, So, and then every gold refractor of all of his years. So from, the Topps years before Panini. So that would be Topps Chrome, Finest, and Bowman, all gold. Those are both sets that I've chased for LeBron. Never quite gotten all of them, not even close on the exquisite side. Just way too many. Chris Paul's going to be tough, though, because the number pieces set from Exquisite is numbered to the player's jersey number, and Chris Paul's jersey number is 3, so those will be extremely hard to find, and I'm not sure I'll be able to get those, but I'll do my best.
Very nice. All right. Nick, you next. You've taken a slightly different approach. You found an insert set that you enjoy collecting. What is the name of the insert set?
So this particular insert set is the Don Russ, and I'm a football guy, big football man, is Gridiron Kings, baby.
Okay, so Gridiron Kings by Don Russ.
Because there's optic Gridiron Kings that have like the red, the blue. They have so many offsets. So Don Russ, Gridiron Kings, they have the base, they have the numbered to 100 Studio Series, then they have the numbered autos. And I started with just the numbered ones because I don't like the sticker autos, but then I got a little taste when I saw the Saquon Barkley out of 10 auto. I was like, let me just get it. And then I was like, okay, now I have to get them all. So, but the 3, he isn't even my one that I have here today, but the 3 that I have, that I just got this baby, waiting like a year to see it come up. Lamar Jackson out of 5 auto, and these are all raw. Because I just love the way these cards look. I love the design. I believe they're painted, at least this year, 2018. And so they're my favorite version of the football cards that I collect, even out of Prism, Mosaic. I just love the way these look. Although I hate this year's. I despise, and that's why I'm comfortable mentioning it now, because I've kept this under wraps. I didn't want people to, start like buying these. Not that I have any influence or whatever, but still worried about it, paranoid about it. But the number 5, Lamar Jackson, or out of 5 rather, auto, from 2018 is rookie. Then the Baker Mayfield out of 10, auto, again rookie. And then the Josh Allen out of 10, auto, all Gridiron Kings. And
rookie as well, 2018?
Yes, all rookies, because that's what I'm going after is the rookie ones.
So you've got, what were those numbered to again real quick, all 3 of them?
The Lamar's out of 5. The other 2 are out of 10.
So you found a Lamar Jackson rookie autograph out of 5 on a beautiful card that you love the design of, and rookie autographs of Josh Allen out of 10 and Baker Mayfield out of 10. 3 guys who are having incredible seasons by their own standards in Baker's case, but 3 incredible seasons by these quarterbacks. And you've been piecing together, how many Gridiron Kings do you say you have now?
Oh my gosh. With the numbered ones, I have well over 200. And when I get them, sometimes I forget I already have them. Like, I think I have 3 CD Lamb numbered, not the autos.
Right.
And I was like, I already had this card. But I get so excited when I see it on eBay. And I'm like, ooh, it's this price. I can,
That's how you know you found something great when,
He's going to have every 99.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to hog.
Very, very cool. Over 200 Gridiron
That's
Kings.
crazy.
Christina,
That's awesome.
your turn. You
Yeah.
found a truly niche player that you collect,
I
and
did.
you've pretty much got him all to yourself. You probably have the best collection of his cards in the world. And I know you've got a spreadsheet that lists out all of his very best rookies, and you've acquired many of them.
I did.
Tell us, who is that player, and why did you choose to collect them?
The player is Maxi Kleber. He's a amazing defensive and three-point shooter on the Dallas Mavericks. And we've been watching Luka very closely since his rookie year, and that was Maxi's sophomore year. And I don't know, like, just the way he plays and the passion that he has, like, he's never afraid to get posterized. Like, his job is defense. Like, he literally said that after Kawhi like posterized him, and everyone was like, why did you do it? And he was like, because my job is to defend the rim. So I went up to make him earn that basket. And I just love that attitude and that perseverance, and he gives his all on the court. And I really think he's an awesome player, totally undervalued as a player on the Mavs. He could easily be a sixth man of the year or a defensive player of the year. He shut down Zion multiple times. Like, he's just an amazing player that no one really talks about. So I started PCing him.
Let's see the 3 cards you have.
All right, the first up, these are all rookies. So 2017 was his rookie year.
Okay.
The first up is the Noir metal frame out of 25.
All right.
Very classic, like old style Hollywood design.
Yep.
Love this card. Next, I have the Opulence Rookies Auto Hollow Gold out of 10.
Can you imagine getting these for Luka? Would not be
No.
cheap. Okay,
No, would
okay.
not.
Nice, very nice. All right.
And then my last card.
your maybe your best one here.
Yeah, the best one that I have, and probably I think his best rookie card,
Okay.
is his Flawless 1/1 Patches Platinum.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. Just something about this player and like his passion for the sport and
he
life.
almost got traded this
I know.
summer.
This whole summer, like, I was like dying.
Because part of
The
collecting him
whole
that's fun
summer.
is that Luka, he's on Luka's team.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the whole, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Christina. I will go.
Wait, you didn't
quickly.
ask me my what's up next card.
You already have his best card. What
No,
could be next?
There is another card that I want.
All
It's
right.
his 2017 Immaculate Introductions out of 75.
Okay.
So if anyone has it or sees it, please DM me.
All right, very good. And I'll go quickly. I've settled on Christian McCaffrey. I really like having a rooting interest in the NFL. Remember when we came back to basketball, modern basketball, Christina? It was really
Yeah.
because we started opening modern basketball product that we got really involved in watching the NBA like every day.
Yeah.
Basically. And now I'm super immersed in football as well. And I think a big part of it is having found an active modern player to collect. I love McCaffrey. Peter Schrager said he's the Mike Trout of football. You wouldn't be able to recognize him necessarily if you saw him at a bar, but he puts up freakish stats every year. I learned how to collect cards in general via collecting 90s Michael Jordan cards. And I love that flow that I used to have back in 2016, 2017. Spend maybe between $500 and $5,000 on a really nice insert or even a grail card at that time. You could get some of them in that price range. And you could always have mail days coming in every week, every other week, or at least once a month.
The good old days.
The good old days. And so that's what it's like collecting McCaffrey. You can get amazing cards, and you can have them coming in regularly. So here's the 3 that I've chosen. The 2018 Prism Black 1/1, the 2019 Prism Black 1/1, and the 2020 Prism Black 1/1. None of these are rookie cards. All of these are McCaffrey's best Prism card from his sophomore, junior, and senior year. It doesn't even need to be about rookie cards. You can have fun going and finding. I love Prism. I'm a Prism simp. I just think it's a great product.
So wait, what do you
yes.
call his 5th year in the league? Like his super senior year? Like what? How
No,
do you
we'll just
do
call
a
it his
senior
fifth-
Red
year?
shirt senior.
Red shirt senior.
Senior.
We'll call it his 5th year. How about that? Okay.
But I don't understand why it's a senior. Senior year usually means like you graduate the next year and you're no longer playing for that team or something.
I know. As soon as I rolled out the
just-
freshman
Tried to stop
sophomore,
it.
I saw it perplexed you immediately.
Yeah,
You did not like that.
I did
Okay.
not like that.
And since we're putting out wanted ads, I'm desperately trying to get the rookie Prism Black 1/1 of McCaffrey. Okay. Follow-up questions. All right, Josh. Let's talk about some of the unique challenges of collecting a player like Chris Paul that might be different than when you're collecting LeBron. Like, for example, there are networks of LeBron collectors all over the place, and that makes it easier to locate LeBron's key cards, but it probably isn't quite as easy to do that with Chris Paul.
So you just put your answers in your questions now?
Is there any other difficulties or challenges besides like that? Like, I'm just guessing too. I don't know. I'm just
No, that's definitely one of them. Like, if I wanted a LeBron card, I would go literally to my LeBron chat with like 20 people and be like, hey guys. And with Chris Paul, when I started collecting him, I was like, let me go shoot. I don't know I know one Chris Paul collector. And so, yeah, you're right. It's hard to like build up a new network and start over from scratch. The other thing, like I mentioned earlier, is people are not willing to sell the super rare stuff because it doesn't bring like enough money for them to justify it. Like, what's someone going to do with an extra $1,000 versus if you sell LeBron at like $1 million, like there's a lot of reasons you're going to want to sell that card for that much. So it's a little bit harder to find their super high end, super rare stuff because it's just not like financially worth it for those people to sell. I'm sure you've run into that with McCaffrey in some cases.
Yep.
And like they don't come up in auction either. Like if you go to PWCC's auction and Golden's and you search LeBron and Michael Jordan, there's like 1,000 on each one of those two players. Chris Paul I think has like 12 cards, and I'm sure Maxi Kleber probably has 0 in Golden. I'm just guessing. And so it's like it's just hard to find them. There's just less listings of them, even though like McCaffrey and Kleber and Chris Paul, they have a lot of cards, a lot. I'm sure Chris Paul has as many as LeBron, except for the fact that he's 2 years older, but way harder to find, way less listings, people not as willing to sell them.
Yeah, that's such a good point too about the prices on some of these players just aren't high enough to make people feel compelled to sell them. Like even the LeBron Exquisite RPA, before it started showing up a few times a year, maybe like 3 or 4 times a year like it does now, maybe even like it might sell 6 or 7 times this year, but the card had to get to like $1 million or more before they started coming out with regularity. And that's the same problem with some of these players too, is that they just aren't high enough values to cause collectors to feel any sense of urgency to sell them. So it's difficult. It's different trying to pry them out. Even if you offer 2x the market price, it's still just as an absolute dollar amount is difficult to pry the card out.
Like 75% of the Chris Paul cards that I own were in the collector's hands that I bought them from, like in his rookie year of 2005, and the reason that they're willing to sell them now for the most part is that he made the finals last year and his prices have started to tick up. So it's like, oh wow, he made the finals. Finally, people are paying, a little bit more for some of these. Maybe I should sell them. It's like, wow, you haven't sold for 15 years.
It's you're dealing with a totally different type of collector. And I made and we have a Christian McCaffrey group chat on Instagram, but it's just a bunch of guys who basically have sold and girls.
There are 2 girls in that chat.
2 girls in there.
Thank you.
But the vast
Shout out,
majority
Sam.
of the people in that chat are people who just sold me a McCaffrey. I brought them into the chat, and then they like show the card that they bought with the money that I gave them for the McCaffrey. like one guy was like showing off the Cam Newtons that he got. Another guy was showing, because like a lot of them are Panthers collectors who collect McCaffrey. So it's very different. It's a very different energy, and we're all still figuring out this different world of collecting. Christina,
Yes.
you've chosen an obscure player,
I
a
have.
very obscure player to collect in Maxi Kleber. How do people react when you tell them you collect Maxi Kleber?
Okay, let me tell you a story. We're at the May Dallas show, and I'm thinking, Dallas show, he's a Dallas Mavericks. I'm gonna find some Klebas on the floor. I go to the like quote unquote local guys that were pointed out to me by other vendors of like, oh no, this guy is like Dallas local or Fort Worth, like he owns a shop, like he'll probably be your best bet. So I like do my scouting mission, go up to these guys, and I ask them, do you have any Maxi Klebas? And they like look at me and they like squint, and then they go, Kleber? And I was like, actually, sir, it's pronounced Kleba. But I was like,
She literally said that.
I do.
Okay, yeah, so
And they always say no. Like,
Okay.
no one has his cards, and I don't understand it. Like,
do you mind that? Do you mind that you collect an obscure player and
no, I always joke that, like, Maxi, like, my biggest threat when buying a Maxi card is his mom. But I know there are Maxi collectors out there because someone bid me up on the Prism Black Shimmer, and I have 2 of his Prism Golds for this year because it was his first year in Prism.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, those cards were not inexpensive for a Maxi Kleba card.
there's set collectors out there too that you're up against.
Yeah.
Especially
but-
on 101s.
Yeah. So I know that there are people out there who are collecting him. But I like collecting an obscure player. I just wish I didn't have to explain who he was all the time. He deserves respect.
Well, maybe you'll help with that. Okay. Final question. Josh, what words of guidance would you offer to someone looking to build a world-class collection of a player who is not considered part of the hobby's Mount Rushmore?
I would say the 2 things are patience and discipline, because once people figure out that you are collecting this player and they have some of those, they're going to want to try to sell it to you and thinking like, hey, this guy or girl collects this player, they're definitely going to overpay because that's what they want. And so you got to have some patience, and it's a little bit tough because stuff's going to start coming to you because people are like, okay, this person collects this player. It's going to start funneling to you fast, and you got to kind of decide, do I want to try to buy everything that's brought to me, or do I want to pick my spots? You know, especially if the player is somewhat expensive, you know, at least relative to some of these goats. So got to pick your spots, have some patience, realize that like you're not really going to have insane competition long term, so you don't really have to get everything right away, and you can kind of take your time. I'm not taking my own advice because I bought like a ton of stuff in the first week. And I feel like, Chris, you just like buy everything that comes your way as well.
Pretty
So we don't even
much.
take this advice, but we'll
Do as we
we'll
say,
probably
not as
calm
we
down
do.
as the time goes on.
No doubt. Christina, do you have any advice there? It felt like you had something to say.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the people who've like messaged all of us when cards have come up or they've spotted cards at shows that like our friends know that we collect, because that's the best part of the hobby is when like someone knows that you're searching for a card and then they help you obtain it, or they like go out of their way to kind of obtain it for you, and then like don't flip it to you, but just are like, this is what I paid for it, like here. And you're always like, no, like let me give you a finder's fee, like I'm not just gonna pay you cost, like because that's awesome.
Great notes. Love that note to end the show on. We will not have Sports Cards Culture next week because Christina and I are going to be going to the Causeway Card Show in Boston on October 16th, and then we will be visiting Bleecker Sports Cards in New York City on October 21st. So Boston show on October 16th, New York on October 21st. That means we will see you guys again in 2 weeks.
Thanks for watching. Tell us in the comment section below what the crew should cover next week, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time at SCC Sports Cards Culture.